I've got a fun and different episode lined up today. I had a coaching call with one of my former students of my 30 Steps to Better Jazz Playing course, and we just checked in together and had a little bit of fun. Here it is, coming right up.
Welcome to the LJS podcast, where you get weekly jazz tips, interviews, stories, and advice for becoming a better jazz musician. And now your host. He's a jazz musician, author, and entrepreneur, Brent Vaartstra.
All right, hey, what's up? My name is Brent. I am the jazz musician behind the website learnjazzstandards.com, which is a blog, a podcast, and videos all geared towards helping you become a better jazz musician. So I do have a special episode today, and on the show I have a special guest, one of my former students of my jazz practicing course called 30 Steps to Better Jazz Playing, which we are relaunching in August. His name is Francis Belanger, and he is a guitarist that lives in Quebec, Canada. And, something I'm going to be doing for some students in our new relaunch that we're coming out with in August of this course is I'm going to be checking in with them sometimes, just to see how things are going. And so for Francis, I just thought, hey, it'd be really fun to check in with him, see how he's doing post-course life, and just check in. We do a little bit of a coaching call. We do a little bit of just talking about him, what he's all up to, me getting to know him better. And he was gracious enough to let me share our conversation with you, and just a lot of fun to sit in. And one thing that we definitely talk about is post-course life for him, how the structure that he had within that course was so helpful for him, and how he's struggling a little bit to keep that focus, keep that on track post-course. So it's great. I give him a little bit of a challenge to hold him accountable. We go over that and so much more. So definitely sit in on this call. It's a good time, and it was great getting to know Francis better. Now, like I said, we are relaunching 30 Steps to Better Jazz Playing in August. We're also coming out with a free course, Accelerate Your Jazz Skills, 3 Steps Towards Jazz Improv Freedom, which is now a required course to get into 30 Steps to Better Jazz Playing. So it's totally free. So if you're interested in 30 Steps to Better Jazz Playing, or if you just want to check out the free mini course anyways, go ahead and go to 30stepstobetterjazzplaying.com to sign up for the waiting list. On August 2nd is when the Accelerate Your Jazz Skills course comes out, and then August 6th is when we are launching, or rather August 5th, oops, got the dates wrong. August 5th is when 30 Steps to Better Jazz Playing is relaunching to the public. All right, so without further ado, let's get on Francis. All right, welcoming on the show today is Francis Belanger. He is an alumni of the 30 Steps to Better Jazz Playing course. Francis, thanks for being here, man. I really appreciate it.
It's my real pleasure, Brett. That's an honor for me to be here.
Oh, man, absolutely. And I'm just excited to talk to you today, and just for you to share your story with the audience. I think a great place to start is just to, where are you from? What do you do in your day-to-day life? What's your thing?
Oh my God. I'm 40 years old, and I'm playing guitar since I'm a young kid. Maybe it's over 30 years old since I play guitar. But I work as a cook. I love to cook food. Yeah.
Yes.
And but I just returned to school lately, and I'm studying art, literature, and communication. So, and I will enter a university and some kind of program I'm thinking about right now. I don't know what it will be now, but I'm just going to school for the next 4 or 5 years for sure.
That is awesome. So, okay, and you're out in Quebec, right?
Yes, I'm Quebec, but not just only in Quebec. I'm living in the Gaspé Coast. Okay. It's it's a peninsula. I'm living by the sea, and it's a wonderful place. In fact, I'm living in the Chaleur Bay, and it's one of the most beautiful bay in the world by the National Geographic.
Oh, really?
Nonetheless.
Oh, yes. I really would love to visit. The only places I've been is Quebec City. I've been to Quebec City, and I've been to Montreal.
So you know a guy there, so you're welcome anytime.
Awesome. Oh, thanks for the invite. That's so cool. Awesome. So, okay, great. So you've been playing guitar for so what kind of started that interest in music in general? I mean, you work as a chef, right? But what kind of got you, you're obviously you do as a hobby, but what got you started with it? What made you excited about doing it?
Music is really, it's all about passion.
Yes.
And some stories are more complicated, but I think a lot of people have have a complicated relation about their music and their stories. So it's not always straightforward. Because me, when I was maybe 9 or 10 years old, my father took his guitar and played me a song. And that was a big revelation. I said to myself, that's what I want to do in life.
Wow. Awesome.
But I'm not, obviously, I'm not a professional musician today. So not a lot of people was believing in me, believing in my project. And here, yes, I'm living in a wonderful, beautiful place, but it's still a small town with and there was not a lot of musicians to get influenced by, not a lot of concert that I could go to influence myself. I was not in a bath of music, in a bath of culture.
Right.
So I just, with all the opposition from my entourage to be a professional musician, I just took my own way, but that was not a very good way to do things. So when I hit maybe 18 years old and 19 years old, I just realized that I'm not in there. I will not become a musical professional because I have so much bad habits and I'm underdeveloped and things like that. So I become a cook.
Awesome. Hey, I personally cooking. One of my favorite hobbies is cooking. I love to do it. That's
so much fun.
And you know what? It's so creative too. I mean, there's so much creativity in it, so it makes so much sense that that's something to gravitate to.
And my cooking is I cook the exact same thing, the exact same way I play music.
Ooh, tell me about that.
Oh yeah, because in music, my strength is also my weakness, and it's my capacity to improvise.
Yes.
So the way I learn is just by improvisation. By improvisation, I never plan a practice or thing like that. I took my guitar and I just explore, improvise, and want always to go further and further and further and further. I developed really good musician skills, but I'm still a raw musician.
Yes.
But to link with the cooking, to cook is for me way easier to play than the played music, because I will compare. Food is really rich by itself. You can select a really great ingredient, really great food with a lot of complex aroma. But imagine you take any food, just a good carrot, just from the garden. It's very rich, man. It's like a jazz chord.
Yes.
You have the jazz chord there. You don't have to learn how it works or nothing like that. You just have to appreciate it. And so when you surround yourself with a good ingredient, it's like you have a lot of super jazz chord, and you just have to put them together. If you have any instinct of improvisation or quelque chose, you can do absolutely wonderful things. So say I didn't I didn't study at all to become a cook. It's just natural for me to see all those jazz chords, those ingredients, and mix them together to make great music, to make great food. So that's for me, that's practically the same thing.
I love that. I love that analogy, actually. That's really good because, with cooking, you have all these different ingredients, these great ingredients. You combine them together, but, there's some technique involved. You have to understand, how to do certain techniques and all these things. Yes. And then when you know that stuff, you combine these ingredients together, you can end up creating these beautiful dishes. And that's the same with music and jazz. And, you have this technique we have to develop. You have these musical elements like chords, like intervals, melodies, all these things that we in our ear, and we combine them all together and we can end up creating some beautiful music. I love everything you just said. That was so cool. By the way, for everybody listening, none of this is planned. Me and Francis are just having a conversation right now. Didn't even know you were a chef until just now. So that was so cool that just sprang up here. Now, as far as jazz, how did you end up getting an interest in jazz?
That's an interesting thing too. I was just saying earlier that I was not surrounded by a very strong musical culture, but that's half true. But because a part of my family, it's all about music, but it's not at all about jazz. Right. And I didn't know anyone who was listening to jazz, but. So I start playing like every kid of my age with Metallica and Guns N' Roses things.
Oh yeah, of course.
And maybe Slayer because I was a bit in that branch too. But my propension to improvisation led me quickly to the blues. And because we had a great blues festival here in Carleton, it's a festival that doesn't exist anymore. But I was surrounded by the blues culture because a lot of great bluesmen from the United States came here to play. Let's say it, blues is it's easy to play. It's easy to improvise on those dominant chords in the blues progression, right. And you can do any note you want, and it always sounds great if you just land on the...
Well, there's not as many chord progression, right? There's not as many chord progressions, like chords going by in it, right? In traditional blues.
Mm-hmm. Well, but of course, if you want to obtain a certain color, you have to restrain yourself and not playing all the notes.
Right.
Because, but I was I became bit quickly tired of always doing the same thing. So what's next after blues? It's jazz.
Nice.
And I remember to enter a music store, and I didn't know nothing about jazz, and I was just looking through the records. And I took some Jaco Pastorius, Louis Armstrong, and I practically never heard of them. And I listened to them, and Ella Fitzgerald, and I just felt in love with the genre. That was awesome, exceptional, and
awesome. That's cool. And that's the way a lot of people seem to find jazz too, is they start by getting interested in improvisation. And then there's this, of course, jazz is this style of music. It's existed for over a century. And, so like it's something that, it's a music that has developed into this incredible improvisation. It is improvisation, it's this music that embodies that. And so a lot of people, including myself, that's how I gravitated to it as well. That's really cool to hear your story. I find it's really interesting always to find how people come to music, come to jazz specifically. It's always a different story. And so I think the power of story is really important. Now, eventually you came across, my 30 Days to Better Jazz Playing course. It's now going to be called 30 Steps to Better Jazz Playing course. What made you think about taking the course?
I told you before that I had a really bad practice habit.
Yes.
And I was struggling about that a lot. And I took the 30 days course just last year. You said there's something somewhere in the course. The most important job of a teacher is to teach to the student how and what to practice.
Yes.
I read that and I said, yes, that's my course. I want it. I took it. I need it. So I took specifically the course for that reason, and that was a great choice.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad you think that, because that is absolutely true. I think the at the end of the day, we can learn fancy tricks. We can learn things that people want to think of as shortcuts, like they can think of scales, they can think of all this music theory. And while all that stuff is important, at the end of the day, having a plan to reach our goals, to build step by step on our progress, working on the things that actually make a difference, especially when it comes to this genre, that's how we're going to make progress. And you were someone in the course who just engaged themselves, and you were just showing me before we got on this call here, where we started recording this, you showed me that you've taken notes on every single module of the course, and like you have like these thick little booklet paper things of all the notes and stuff that you've printed out on the course.
See, I learned lately that that's a professional attitude. See, you have to take note about what you're doing, about you have to create archives. So when you you contact me to not to talk specifically about the course, but I just took my note, and in a quick view, I was able to remember everything I have done and in the course, and that's.
Yes, that's so important, and you totally have the right idea. And so I want to thank you, first of all. Thanks for being such an engaged member of that course, and for just really throwing yourself in it. And so it's so awesome. But what I want to do right now is I just want to help you further. I just want to do what I can to just help you further in your journey. You've finished this course, but I kind of want to know, what are some challenges that you've come across in your jazz playing? How can I help you right now?
Seriously, the biggest challenge I faced, and I still face with my music, it's still to know how to practice. Seriously, that's because you show us a great ways, acquire some tools to build my practice routine. But to become the musician I want to become the goals I write down on paper, I have to create my own routine.
Yes,
it's just I have to take personally the decision. I need to practice this, not because a brand said so, but because I need it.
Right, life on the other side of the course is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
That's yes, but it's still my struggle. But I feel very much more competent to build my routine. So that's a big relief, if I can say.
Well, let me ask you really quickly, just on that. That's an important subject. So let's start with this. What are your goals right now for your music? Like what are you aiming for? Like what do you want to do? And it doesn't have to be something. It could be general. It could be specific. But what are you reaching for in your music in general, or even your jazz playing?
I have multiple goals.
Okay, great.
My musical story begin with the first thing was I want to be a professional musician. That will not be the case, but what will be the case is that I will always play music. That's a reality. So my main priority is to have a super duper efficient routine practice.
Yes.
Because I'm a busy man, I'm going to school, I work, I have some other project in all of the things. And I still believe with really well organized practice, I can optimize the time I pass on my instrument each day. So every morning, let's take how the 30-step course is made. So you talk about separate the core in 3 chunks.
Yes.
The repertoire, jazz language, and technique.
Yes, those are the three categories that we can work out of that will help us get progress if we set up in a goal-oriented, stepwise way, right?
But technique is a super important thing, but it can be a bit harsh. It can be like the brown bread to eat. Like I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
But it's for me, it's a great thing to do just as I wake up in the morning.
Yes.
I have super short but efficient routine. It's like just wake up your body. You're doing some push-up. You're doing something when you wake up and to pass through your day. That's not a super training, but it's a great time for me to do techniques. The rest of the day you do just doing other things to try to learn repertoire. That's my biggest weakness. They just improvising all the time, always. How you want to be a musician when you don't have a repertoire? That's a nonsense. So I really have to work on this.
Got to work on the repertoire, right?
Yes, and so on. I think you can get the point with what I.
So do you feel like it's a matter of not having the motivation or not having the time, or what do you think is the main struggle to get yourself to working on some of that stuff?
The main struggle is you cannot change quickly.
Yes.
Magically or things like that.
You're right.
When you have to operate great changes inside yourself, it takes time and it takes time, and it's important to know that you have to change the way you think, the way you live, the way to change a paradigm. So it's a long process. I think it's a really efficient way to learn, and it gives me a lot of confidence. So the trick, if it have one, it's to allow yourself to do a lot of mistakes.
Yes.
To get things wrong, because when you try something new, it's for sure you will be bad at first. And you will be uncertain, am I doing the right thing or not? But that's not important. You just have to do what you have in mind, what you think it's right to get to the next step. And then you have when you have passed through that, you can say, oh, that was not good, but that was good. So you can build on.
Absolutely.
On the mistake you have done, but mistake is just learning. It's not bad in any ways. So with that attitude, I'm really confident that it's just a matter of time since I get my super practice routine.
Awesome. You are so right. That is totally the attitude to have. Is you're going to make mistakes, but that's how we learn. We learn by trial and error, and the more we do that, I mean, the more you cook, the more you realize, that's a little too much salt, right? Don't put that much salt in there, right? So you learn these things by trial and error. And, going back to a little bit what you're saying, that's kind of the helpful thing of a course, right? Is when you have the plans laid out. I mean, we have so much information on the internet. We have YouTube videos, we have blog posts, we have podcast episodes, all these lessons that you can get. But if you don't have something that's organized for you, where it's, where you can really just go, okay, this is what I need to do. And it sounds like something like that helped you.
That's a great point. Great point. Yeah, you just said that, because all the structure you offer me to get a practice routine, that was a real comfort for me. That was I just abandoned myself in your structure. I said I did not question any of what you teach us during those 30 days, and I just said, it gave me a real a break to have to take this decision. That's our decision to make, to decide. Tomorrow I will do that. Hey, that's our decision to make.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so I have a challenge for you, Francis. Are you up for the challenge?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Awesome. So here's what I want you to do. I want you, because it sounds like what we just need is we just need some structure, right? Because that's what the course was about, but we want to keep that going. So let's just do this. What I want you to do, I want you to pick one jazz standard to learn, and I want you to pick I want you to pick at least one chorus of a solo to learn. Okay, I want you to find something, and if you need some suggestions, I'll send you some after this. Whatever you need, I want to set you up for success. I want you to do that. And what I want you to do is start each one of your practice sessions with just a little bit of technique, whatever it may be. It could even just be, trying to play different things on your guitar that you may, not be used to. Or if you have a book that you can work out of, just really quick at the beginning. But what I'm going to do is a month from now, I'm going to write this down right now. A month from now, I'm going to email you, and I'm going to ask you, hey, Francis, show me that song that you learned, and show me that 32 bars of a solo. Are you down with that? Are you good for that?
I think yes. I think yes, and I know exactly what solo to pick. That's maybe not a jazz standard, but it's near George Benson. Yes.
Yeah.
The world is a ghetto.
Nice.
And the solo, I want to learn a part of the solo. That's a really long solo, but the part at 5 minutes 15 seconds to 5 minutes 30 seconds, the lick is awesome. And
dude, this is great. We have a plan, right?
I just took that from my archive. That was the thing I was supposed to do when I finished the course. But
awesome.
There you just lit up the things to me.
Awesome. So here, okay, cool, awesome. So on August 6th, because this is the day we're recording, on August 6th, which is a month from now, I'm gonna email you. All right. So that's and so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're gonna learn. Honestly, the point is that but you're gonna make progress, right? And that's what this is. That's what the course was about. That's what this is about now. Okay. Awesome. So we got a plan. All right. So is there anything else on your mind about that you mentioned before that you're starting to play with a band? Is that true? So what's that all about?
Yes, that's absolutely true. But it's not a jazz band. We're doing, but we will decide that maybe tonight. We'd like to do some composition. But it's fun to do some covers too, because there's such great song everywhere, and we're doing some French stuff, some English stuff too, rock, pop, different things, and we'll see. We just have a really good time to play music together, but we just want to take a step further. But we ask ourselves a lot of questions on the band dynamic and how to create this dynamic. I said I was struggling to practice by myself, but in a band you have to write goals and to plan your things and things.
Right, absolutely. You have to practice together, right? Because if you want to sound good as a band, you have to start connecting. But the most important thing, when you get up and you play your gig, I think you said it was tonight, is to be listening.
It's not a gig tonight, like just a
practice session.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Well, when you go into this practice session, keep in your mind the whole time, because this is really hard, and every musician struggles with this. Focus on everybody else, right? A lot of times we want to focus on our own playing. We want to focus on, and you do, and that's the thing about music. It's tough because you need to juggle, making sure that you're able to play what you're doing, but that's where the practice room comes in, right? Where you're sitting by yourself, making sure you've got the groove locked in, the melody locked in, you memorize the songs, all that's on you in the practice room. But when you get out there to go play with the band, right, you want to be listening to everybody else. Because here's the deal. If everybody is listening to each other in the band, what's going to happen? Magic is going to happen, right? Because you're going to be listening to the bass player, and the bass player's listening to the drummer, and you're listening to the drummer. When everybody's listening to each other, that means you can lock in the groove. That means you can play off of each other. That's where the magic happens, and that's a lot easier said than done. But that's what I would encourage you to do going into your rehearsal tonight. Just listen and, just really,
Yes.
really lock that in. Remember, you got two separate things. Learning your parts, that's on you in your own practice time. And the second part is, locking in with the band. That's a separate thing, right? Where you have to work with each other.
Your advice is perfect. That's true. That's true. That's very well said. When you are alone, it's time to focus on yourself. That's obvious, but I was the fact you said that. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
you
know what? I find that
music is just a thing of communication. Huh?
Yes.
And if we like to play with others, it's because we can feel great emotion with others, and of course we have to listen to them.
Right, exactly. It's funny. Some of the best musical advice I've ever received from some of my mentors and teachers have been the simplest things, but those are the things that have just stuck in my head, and I just always think about those things, and they've changed my playing. All right. Is there anything, before we close off today, is there anything else I can help you with? I want to make sure just before we close up this call that I can just do anything I can to help you.
Maybe with my English.
Oh, man. Well, maybe we need to trade some French lessons, My wife actually can speak French. She can speak three. She's Greek, so she speaks Greek, English, and French. I mean, she's a little rusty on her French, but she can, anyways. But I need to work on. I need to work on my.
Sure,
my
but let's say I don't know, my invitation is still on. If you want to come here in the Challerbay, you're more than welcome.
Awesome, man. That's so cool. Okay, awesome. So great. Well, hey, I think what we have here is, we have a plan. In a month, I'm going to email you and just check up on you, and that's holding you. That's it's a little bit of holding you accountable there, just to make sure we got some things moving. I'm going to be excited to ask how your band's going too, and all that. Yeah, all of that is basically like we're taking what you learned in the course, that framework that you did in the course, and we're applying it outside of that essentially. So, okay, awesome. So. I just want to close off by asking you, what is something that because I want to learn for myself and I want others to know too, what's something that really benefited you in the 30 Steps to Better Jazz Playing course? Like what's something that really helped you a lot?
I just read something I write down earlier. It told me focus on efficient practice to divide the practice in chunks. That was super important. Maybe that was more when I was passing through the course. I said, because I had a super opportunity like a couple of years ago to took some jazz lesson with a real good teacher, a real jazz professional improviser, and I took a lot of knowledge, and I'm full of jazz knowledge. But he didn't teach me how to practice, and it's to a point as I was passing through your course, it just hit me. I said, man, why this teacher did let me practice so badly? That's insane. Like, how could he do that? He just don't know how to teach his student how to practice. That was a nonsense, because he was a really, really knowledgeable and jazz musician, and it just So that's why I took the course, because of that reason, and that's what I get from the course, and that's why I like it, and I'm happy. I'm glad to have passed through the course.
Yes, you did pass.
I received my certificate, so that's nice. That's a nice touch. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. Yes, I mean, absolutely. Like I said earlier, we can have a lot. There's a lot of things to practice, and there's a lifetimes of things to practice, and they come from all angles, right? But if we don't know how to organize that into a way that we're reaching our goals, that we're focused, that we have a step-by-step process, it can be hard, and that's exactly why I created this course, and I am more than thankful that you passed through it. Man, you have the right heart, you have the right aspirations, and I just appreciate you coming on and just sharing with everybody in the Learn Jazz Standards community your story. I know, that takes someone stepping up to do that, so I do appreciate it. I do appreciate your time, and I'll be emailing you in a month.
Yeah, I will know the lick. I'm reaching of George Benson. The World is a Ghetto. That's a really, really great song.
All right, that's all for today's show. Thanks for listening, and thanks for joining in. Another special thanks to our guest, Francis Belanger, my former student, for just hanging out and being so open and sharing his story. It was so much fun to catch up with him. Now, as I said, we are relaunching 30 Steps to Better Jazz Playing, so if you are interested in that course or just interested in the free Accelerate Your Jazz Skills mini course, which is a requirement to get into that course, then sign up for the waiting list at 30stepstobetterjazzplaying.com. And as I always ask, if you got value out of this podcast episode, then just feel free to go to iTunes, your favorite podcast listening service, and leave a kind rating and review. Helps other people know that this is a podcast worth listening to. All right, looking forward to having you back next week. We actually have a current student who is in 30 Steps to Better Jazz Playing from Paris to talk to us, and we do a little coaching call as well. So stay tuned for next week, and I'll see you back then.
Thanks for listening to the LJS podcast, brought to you by LearnJazzStandards.com. Subscribe to the series on iTunes, and don't forget to join our jazz community at LearnJazzStandards.com/newsletter.